Hey Pepper Gang, and any new cowboys to Twisted Path, Steam release is here for Twisted Path, so if you're a struggling brand new player or just need a refresher on some things as a returning player, I'm going to give you my top personal 20 tips for solo gameplay. These are based on my personal experience, advice has been given by other Twisted partners, and some of it carried over from other extraction games. If you have any questions though, drop them down below or swing by my live stream and ask me there. I also recommend joining the official Discord for Twisted Path. The link will be down below. The community is super helpful and always wanting to Sherpa players around. With that being said, here are my top 20 tips ranging from progression, looting, PvE, PvP, and more. Number 1, the mountain is always north. If you are disoriented, look for the snowy mountain and use your map to orient yourself that way. You also have an X where you spawn in, so make sure you take that into account. Number 2, middle of the map is typically hotter than the edges. Fort Berry, Fort Dixon typically attract teams, so if you want to push PvP, push the middle of the map. Otherwise, if you want to chill or raid, stick to the edges. The map I use personally will be linked down below. It's made by and updated by community members. Number 3, don't be afraid to push W with free characters. It's the best way to get rid of gear for you if you have it. Gun sounds do travel pretty far in Twisted Path, so if you hear shots, it could be a great opportunity to jump someone fighting AI. The more PvP practice you get, the better you will improve at it. Number 4, when choosing a free character, they all suck with debuffs. But I typically choose ones that don't penalize me in my physical traits. I value endurance, sprinting speed, strength for looting, so I go for characters like the partially blind person. Being able to move constantly and quickly is a useful tool when it comes to surviving the Wild West. You will find your favorite type of free characters with time though. I just recommend you try them all. Number 5, if there's an extract available nearby when you spawn in, do a quick run, hunt, loot, and dip to the extract. The constant open world instance that Twisted Path has allows for really quick loading times, so you can get out of raid and be back in another one within minutes. This is just a great way to stop a losing streak and fill up your stash quickly. Number 6, build up your character with PvE for a few raids to level up physical traits ideally. I try to avoid PvP for 1 to 2 raids with free characters just so I can level them up a bit. As you level up your character stats, especially physical ones, you will be able to fight teams a lot easier. Repositioning is key in this game, but that costs stamina, so take that into account when you level your characters. Number 7, I encourage you to have fun with all the character customization you can do in Twisted Path, but if you have no idea how to start, you can just do what I do, and I focus on leveling my sprinting speed on almost all characters, endurance as well, and then sometimes I put lots of points into strength pretty early on if I'm focused on looting more than PvP. Number 8, hunting gets you experience and renown without PvP or AI PvE. You can find all sorts of small critters and all their parts are pretty useful for money, crafting, or turning into food. It's a nice chill way to play Twisted Path in my opinion, and something you'll see me do quite often. Number 9, don't re-peek the same peak that AI are already shooting at. If you do, make it really quick. Quick peeks are better for gathering info, and when it comes to having a bunch of smoke in front of your face, sometimes you want to re-peek the other side, but I typically embrace right-hand peeks like you do in other extraction games. AI will punish you though if you keep re-peeking and holding the same peak over and over. Number 10, hardcover is your best friend, even though there's not much out there because you are in the middle of a forest and desert, but ideally look for larger rocks. Trees are okay, but only if they're pretty wide. I use them to reload guns and reposition in fights, and then I keep moving between trees until I find a much bigger one. There's a lot of hills and bushes around the map, which do help block line of sight from AI. If you don't know, the icons that pop up on the bottom right of your screen show you if you're aggroing an AI or not. So if the icons disappear wherever you're sitting, you can use that to your advantage to break aggro. Number 11, you can make extracting easier by bringing in money or specific items like cigars, rope, leather bracelets for these specific extracts. These specific extracts that have requirements are typically safer than the free ones and quicker too. Number 12, pigs can be very frustrating. I complain about them on my stream all the time, but I have learned how to fight them for the most part, especially when there's a bunch of them. You ideally need to find a tree to use for cover, and as they charge you, you side strafe and shoot. Aim for the heart as well, guys. It gets you quicker kill, and this can apply to all animal hunting too. Number 13, if you need a quick hit with a free character, there's 2-man patrols all over the map that roam between points of interest. I personally like killing the ones up in the swamp area, but this is a great way to get a little ammo, occasional meds, side bags, holsters, and more. I try to start my Zero to Hero runs by killing a duo patrol. Number 14. Make sure to replace clothing as it deteriorates. I typically always try to loot the best condition ones I can find. If you don't keep the durability into account when they're really low, 1 or 2 shots will break your clothing and anything in your pockets will disappear. I try to make sure I don't let my clothing get under 10% condition. Number 15. If you have meds or throwables like TNT in your pocket, you can quick heal or throw them with the wheel. I have mine binded. I believe it's the default on the tilde key above tab. You can also switch guns really quickly this way. Number 16. Shot sounds carry pretty far, so don't be afraid to wait in the bush and let AI or players rotate instead of getting hot with them, especially if you're low on meds or you have some quest items in your backpack. As long as you aren't turning inside that bush, many people will run right by you, never noticing you. Remember, you're not working against the time, you're just managing your food and water. Number 17, speaking of food and water, don't neglect it. I try to bring at least one of each item, a small bota bag and maybe an apple or a can of food. And typically I try to eat at each point of interest I visit throughout my raiding. If you eat too quick though, or don't manage your stomach fullness meter, you won't be able to properly hydrate or re-energize when you need to. It can be a little tedious to learn, takes some getting used to. Just make sure you're reading what you eat because there's a lot of debuffs with a lot of food too. Number 18, lean into crafting. The best ammo, guns, gear is crafted, and that's how you can gain an edge, especially as a solo. A lot of crafts need to be unlocked via quests now, so take that into account too if you're a returning player. You will also need several tools that can be quite large. Luckily, they don't break down too quickly, but they take up space in your vault. Number 19, if you're getting off for the night, farm some wood and ore and fill up your crafting queue. A lot of the crafts and farming takes a lot of time, so this way when you log back in, your queue will be empty and you'll have plenty of mats for the day for stash upgrades and crafting and more. Number 20, once you unlock the auction house, look for orders that people have put up. A lot of times, PvPers and people that don't loot often will have requests for large quantities of very common items, such as wood or ore. It's a very good way to make easy money with easily found items. I have sold plenty of wood that people are probably needing for last minute crafting. I could keep going with more guys, but I value your time and these top 20 should help you out if you're new or if you're struggling. If you need more guides or need more specific help, join the official Twisted Path Discord, link will be down below, along with the map that I use. I appreciate you clicking the video though. I typically don't do guides for this game, but I do love the storytelling I can do with Twisted Path, so you should check out the playlist suggested here at the end. Thanks again, and look out for more Twisted Path content now that Steam release is here.